Okay. So right now I'm in bed with no fancy camera this time. I feel like talking to my phone will be much, much easier because I feel like setting up the camera makes it a whole thing and it makes it much harder for me to just speak my mind and speak from the heart. And while I've somewhat formally written some of this stuff down, a lot of this is just going to be off the dome because remember in the very first video I said that the entire point of this is for me to become a better speaker and to be able to better articulate my thoughts and ideas and these sort of weird life theories that I have. I also notice that I say sort of so much and I have to stop that. So let me begin with what is delusion theory? Delusion theory kind of ties back to roughly 2 years ago when I first moved to LA. And prior, I think even to that, I feel like it's been actually so long since I think I've been subconsciously applying delusion theory, but only now have I been able to sort of, I gotta stop saying sort of, oh my God. Only now have I been able to articulate I almost said sort of again. Only now have I only been able to articulate or explain what it is that I've been doing for so long and why I feel like it's been easy for me to be consistently happy. So, and reach some sort of, I hate saying success, and we'll get to why I hate saying success a little bit later, I think. So, delusion theory. What is delusion theory? It's the entire idea that if you operate, and not only operate, but truly believe, truly believe that anything that you seek to obtain is going to happen at some point, then the likelihood that it will actually happen drastically increases. This is a very simple thought, and it might even sound obvious. I think that I feel like it's still not really thought of enough. And or I think people truly don't believe it. I think that's what it is. Excuse the pauses. I just want to be accurate with the way that I'm explaining things. So, delusion theory at its fundamental principle comes from everything is perspective. This goes beyond two people seeing a shade of red and one of them thinking it's darker or more saturated than the other person. This goes far beyond that. This is a core principle that shows up in physics. So if I were to ask you, if a person on the street walking at 3 miles per hour and another person is driving in a car at 25 miles per hour, and if I were to ask you which of the two people are moving faster, if you were to say the person in the car is moving faster, well, then you're wrong and you're right, but mostly wrong. Because what you should have did instead is ask me in respect to what? Because the person in the car, with respect to the car, isn't moving at all. You can apply that principle and expand it to everyday life. I feel like a lot of the thoughts that I have start with some sort of core fundamental principle of the universe or of physics, and it gets applied to life. It gets applied in a more general sense. I look so tired. Anyway, to further explain what I'm saying, or to up. Let me think. So applying that sort of, I gotta stop saying sort of, to apply that physics principle to your life looks like this. So long as your perspective remains delusionally positive, it can only be positive because from your perspective, it is positive. Does that make sense? If you can truly believe something, then it is. And it just is, even if it's not even based in reality. Let me look at my actual notes too, because I did write some of this stuff down. I feel like the hardest part for me whenever it comes to talking has to do with remembering the key points. Okay, yeah, so we understand how perspective works from a physics standpoint now. So we can tie it into delusion theory now, because delusion theory, like I said, says that so long as you truly or delusionally believe in whatever it is that you're trying to obtain, that it will eventually happen, that the likelihood that it will happen drastically increases. So remember that that's the key principle. So obviously, like these, you can't just delusionally believe that anything will happen. It has to be realistic. You can't just jump off of a fucking mountain and just start flying because you believe that you're about to fly. That's not how it works. It still has to be based somewhat in reality. So to really apply it, I feel like I've already said this, but you really have to believe it. You really, really have to believe it. And that's, I think, the hardest part. But that is the key, is truly, truly believe it. But the benefit of this is that you will be able to fail infinitely and never feel like you're failing, because in your mind, you're not failing. Does this make sense? I probably sound fucking crazy. Whatever. But you're never failing. Therefore, your likelihood of success increases. But like I said earlier, success isn't even fucking real anyway. Because if out of 100 people, if I was to pull 2 of them randomly, what's the likelihood that 2 of them will have or both of them will have the same definition of success? The likelihood isn't that high. But what we can agree on is that failure is when you either quit or you can't fucking pivot into something else. That's it. So, therefore, just be delusional. Because it's a lot easier to be happy when you're delusional. How can you be upset that you didn't get a job? Or how can you be upset that that side hobby or side gig isn't working out? When if you truly believe that it will work out. Did I lose my train of thought? When you truly believe that at some point it will work out, you can't even be mad. You have no room to be mad because in your head, it just hasn't worked out yet. So it's basically that fucking meme of that one nigga mining for diamonds. And he gets really close to the diamonds, but he don't get it yet. That's how delusion theory works. But you're just always mining, and the diamonds are always just like 2 feet in front of you. So it's literally that, except for don't like apply it to gambling, only apply it to things that you can control. So that's delusion theory. It's very simple. The hardest part is becoming delusional. But that's for another time. Thanks. for watching, I guess. Fuck.